just from that piece alone. Oh, that's pretty terrible. I don't want to blow that around uncontrolled, so I'm going to be careful about that. Alright, so this is Mai-ZiE's post-celebration, and I even did a show after that where she ran all over a big field park over in, not quite Tarzana, California, but close to it. And this is, oh yeah, she was out there a good 4 hours, maybe 5, including setup, tearing all over the place. I got an idea of what we're going to find in here, especially in the drivetrain. It's going to be a lot of stuff that makes this happen. So as you can see, I've already pulled the batteries out, so I have had a look inside here. One of the maintenance things I need to do, well, there are several, of course, including these guys. So these are the master power kill for the drives. When this is trundling all over the ground, the barbs, they loosen up, and this basically falls out a little too often. So I'm going to have to come up with either putting them in place for good or some other option. But I really like the function of how they work. People who know what they are when they see them sitting on Mai-ZiE are like, hey, those are great uses for it. And the notion of pulling this out, throwing it in here, and having her drive, I really like that. Because this only kills the drive motor, not the anything else. So, oh, and another maintenance thing I need to do is I found these guys. So this skips the conversion, and it's a much smaller profile, and I think linking 2 of these together will do some good, save me a little space, and you'll see that the battery holders aren't quite holding as well as they once did not quite so long ago. So we got 4 bars, 2 bars, and then I'll bet there's 2 on this one. So the Stealth barely uses any power at all, whereas after 4 hours, 5 hours of driving around, the Q85s have gone through about half the batteries, 3 amps over 4 hours. It's a pretty good feed rate overall, and that's just for her at 90 pounds. Sorry for the camera angle there. And since there's nowhere I can set the camera up and keep the frame going, or is there? I'll kind of do for the moment. Yeah, it's bad. So in the process, I lost 2 wheel wells. I am so glad for this cover right now. I never thought it would be as good as it is. So let's compare the sides here. That is quite stunning, isn't it? So on this side, obviously we still have both wheel wells, and yet we got a whole lot of dirt coming through. The wheel well itself stayed pretty clean. I'll I'll have to lift Mai-ZiE up off the surface here just a little more so we can spin these wheels. Definitely stiff. Probably some pigeon poop with dirt right there, maybe. Overall, they're looking in great condition, though, relatively speaking. Let's take a quick look at this side. Frame looks good. The wheels themselves, a couple random ones like that right there. That one's chewed up pretty good. But overall, I'd say nice. So even if several of these wear out, it's only a matter of pulling out one of these 4 sets here. So here we can see some of my wiring busted loose. These weren't important wires, but I didn't want live leads hooked up to a battery, so this last outing I went without the LEDs and the LED strips. And I think, as we'll see in the celebration videos, 2 out of the 3 LED strips have gotten loose, so there's definitely a bad wire down there during celebration. So going into celebration, I had nails going through holes out here into brass pipes, which were glued and affixed through the body. As you can see, here is the result, and here is the fix. At each corner, a screw driven through the hull and the body. I don't even look down here. This was done in an emergency real quick. Yeah, so those will definitely be invisible forever, and I think I'm going to replace them with like a cotter's pin or a Clovis pin or something like that. What else can we look at here? Why this is so off balance, I don't know. I needed access at some point, and oh, this is why. Because I needed to pull this out because the underside flap had broken and it was hitting against the wheel. So it was suggested that folks are using E6000 to keep the treads on. I haven't had too much of a problem with them slipping off, but clearly they do slip to the side here and there. So when I pulled that off, I raised up this leg. All these got offset, and I never quite set it back properly again. And same here, when I heard this clattering, I just had to remove the cap and basically threw it out. They're easy enough to make again. I still have the master, of course. But yeah, here it is without. Holy cow. So I had already lost this one going into this last event, which was a car show that the LA Traffic Safety Division put on. Woodland Hills, that was it, early June. And here it is once I took the front cap off. This is pretty insane. Another consequence is that spring shocks here, they kind of work, but they did break loose. And this is the module that I may replace, because 2 of those guys there will be just a little bit thinner than these 2 here, and it'll be a more elegant looking situation, hopefully, as well. What a mess.